we have already built this in Follow Up Boss. I want AJ to kind of tell the story of how he got into real estate and how he has been running this exact system now for, AJ, 10 years? 12 years? And what that produces. And for anyone that doesn't know AJ brings in, I always tell him he sells way too many houses. Every time I see him, his phone's ringing with a referral because he runs this exact same system. And that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
We were both built on internet leads, but you take those internet leads into relationship, you take relationship into past client for life, right?
Sweet. Cool. Well, thanks for the introduction.
I figured you'd catch it.
Yeah. Well, I got a good story actually too. I love telling stories for those who have not heard me present before, and kind of wrapping them into real estate. But what I'll say first is, and I've trained, I think 70 or 80 agents in my time doing this in 12 years. I tell every new agent, this business is not hard. It really is not. I know you guys feel that all the time. It's complex at times. You get into negotiations and different situations that are sticky, but at its core, this is an extremely simple business, and so is really any other service business that exists. It's just really hard work. Really hard work. I worked 60 to 80 hours a week for 5 years when I started in real estate because I wanted to run really, really fast. Not everybody's going to do that, and that's totally fine too. But everybody can get to a point where they are bringing in 2 to 3 referrals or past clients or Sphere transactions a month, because it's very simple if you have the network to do it. And the opening story I have, my agents already heard me because I presented this at my office, but when I was 21 years old, I was in like the best shape of my life. I was playing baseball at the University of Minnesota. I was what I like to say, when I work out, I like to say I want to be explosive. That's my big thing. I was very explosive. I'm 5'9". My standing reach is 7'3", and I was trying to dunk a basketball. I still remember I was at the U of M on the basketball court, and I got within like a half of an inch, and I kept like putting it off the back rim. And then I like forgot about it, and I never tried again. And so I've never dunked a basketball. And fast forward 16 years, and on your like health thing, I was like, man, I work out, but then I don't, and I need to get back into this. Well, I'll never work out unless I have something to work out for. So I decided like a month ago, I'm like, I'm gonna dunk a basketball. And mind you, it's 16 years later, so I'm 37 years old now. My chances are very low. Gemini thinks my chances are 80 to 85%, but I called BS on that. I don't think that's what it is, but I guess the confidence makes a difference. But the point is, right, I said in 2026, can I dunk a basketball, right? Sphere follow-ups and getting business is the same concept. How many of you think if you reach out to a friend right now, they're gonna be like, I wanna buy a house today, right? But you guys all have your phones out right now and you're getting a real-time tour and you're click, 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 and you show the house, and I can sell the house, and you're dodging around, right? And we live in this world of dopamine. It's all dopamine. I can order, like my kids needed vitamins last night. I like click on Amazon, they're already at my house. Like it's like everything is so fast, right? But how many of you think that if I start working out for a month that all of a sudden I can dunk a basketball? Does anybody really think that? Like there's no chance, right? This morning I did grab a 10-foot rim, so I need 6 or 7 more inches. I have a basketball court in my basement, so it makes it a little bit easier to train for this. But point being, it's gonna take a very long time, and I think that's the part that's hard for people when it comes to Sphere is they think, well, they're not, all the time, we'd be setting the system up for agents and they'd go, well, Sarah and Joe, like they're not gonna be buying a house. I said, well, I didn't ask if they were buying a house, I just asked, are they a friend of yours? Like, well, what, if they're not gonna buy, why would I reach out to them? Like, that's the whole point. Eventually, they're gonna buy a house, their family's gonna buy a house, somebody they know is gonna buy a house. You have to have them in the system. You have to follow up with them. And my second story is my first day in real estate. Alyssa was there. She was running the team that I was on. It was Lindsay Bacci-Gallupo and Jeff Bray. For those of you that know Engel and Volkers, yeah, E&V, they own it. And I got there my first day, and I was like wearing a suit. I was like all ready to go, and I get down, I'm like, okay, it's real estate. Like, what do I do, And I start walking down the stairs, and I hear this bell ringing in the basement of this. It was the Loring Park RE/MAX Results office. Yeah, and the bell's ringing, and I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And they're like, oh, Lindsay just sold her 100th house of the year. And I was like, what? How did she do that? And she's like, hop in my car. I'll show you, So my first day, I literally, and I hopped in, and it was this brand new, like $90,000 Lexus. I had like $500 in my bank account. And she's like, you're driving. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I drove around. We met like 3 or 4 clients. They all like gave her massive hugs before they went in to do the showing. I'm like, these people seem to really like her. And I said, how did you do that? And she said, here's our CRM. You just got married 4 years ago, right? I'm like, yeah, I did. And they're like, do you have all the email addresses and phone numbers for those people? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, all right, next 9 months, you're gonna meet with all 225 of those people. And I was like, that's it? And they were like, yeah, that's the job. Like, you're just gonna go meet with them. My younger brother, Luke, I don't think is here, but he famously talks about this too. He's like, so really, like, because I trained him the same way. He said, really, I just go around and like make friends with my friends. I was like, yeah, that's pretty much all you have to do. And people will just call you if you're in front of them. And so I did that in my first year, and I sold 26 homes to my friends in my first year. And I was 26 years old, so it was very good timing. A lot of them were first-time buyers. And then the key was I didn't stop. I just kept going. You guys have all heard, I've had agents, they leave for 2 months and they come back and they're like, I got no clients anymore. And I'm like, well, did you do the job while you were gone? It's like, well, I didn't really do the job while I was gone. It's like, okay, well, now you got to start doing the job again if you want these people to start reaching out to you. So you have to continue to do this and create a system by which you do it. Mine, and I'll get into kind of what my goals are, but you should think about what are your daily and weekly, quarterly, monthly, whatever you want to call it. This should be part of your business plan. Is just how often you're following up with your friends. And I know Jared has set this whole system up in Follow Up Boss as well, which I'll do a little workshop after this for anybody who wants to stick around and kind of show you how I do that. Becoming the expert. I think that's important too. Like, people think when they're brand new, if anybody's like super brand new to the industry in here, that like people won't work with me because I don't know anything. And it's like, they just need to like you and trust you at the beginning. That's really all it is. One of my first ever clients, I posted that I got into real estate. He messaged me immediately. I played baseball with him when I was like 16 or 17 years old. And he said, hey, I know you're brand new. I'd love to be your first client. And I was like, how nice is that? And he knew I had a group of people behind me that could help me if we got into a pickle. And that's kind of how the business grew. And over time, you become good at real estate, right? My big things are, I know the market and I know houses. I know construction, I know remodeling. I think I'm gonna do a little training on that, like maybe next month sometime, a little series. But you get good, and then it really supercharges if you do this the right way. So I guess that's how I'll open it up. But you guys all have this in your, Jared, what's it called again? The
30, 60, 90.
But what's the collection?
That's what it's called.
Okay, it's called the collection. So how we run this, and Follow Up Boss does not like this because they've always trained me on doing this differently. How we run it is, I think a stage, this is why I don't like how Flex does their stages, I think a stage should be the number one identifying characteristic of a person. So 30-day sphere would be your best friends. So your family, right? It's funny because my wife pops up in my 30-day sphere sometimes. People are like, why is she in there? It's like, I don't know. I just have everybody in my entire life in here. I talk to her every day, but she's still in there, right? My parents are in there, all my best friends, 30-day sphere. These are people that are likely going to refer you business. You're not reaching out to them just because they're going to refer you business, mind you. Keep that in mind. I've never thought about this as a industry where it's like, I'm going to make all this money. It's really always been for me, how can I add value to everybody that I talk to today? How can I add value to everybody I talk to today? And what is the system by which I'm going to deliver that value? That is very, very important. I think of 60-day sphere. I think I have these written down. Yep, there we go. 60-day sphere is, you probably hang out with these people 2 to 4 times a year. Call these like your second group of friends from college or high school. Maybe a group of people from your church or another community that you're a part of. This is your 60-day sphere. 90-day sphere, you might see them once. Like, I might see these people at my Pie Day event. I might give them a pie once a year, and that's it. I'm still going to reach out to them every 90 days. This is the pace by which you follow up with people. So my 30-day people, I'm talking to every single month. No, non-negotiable. And I've been doing this for literally 12 years. And I've sold over 500 homes just doing this. Just meeting with people and talking with people. So these are the smart lists that you guys have. Mine is 10 reach outs Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to people in these lists. And people always ask, like, what do you say to them? And I'll be like, hey, Leah, how's it going? How's your family? The beauty is that on a MacBook, if you guys have MacBooks and you have an iPhone, it has all your text messages on there and they just live on there forever. So I can like scroll up on a text and be like, oh, they got a dog, or oh, they were getting married, or oh, this was happening, or this was happening. And I have little triggers that I do based on what it is. I think, Chris, you're here, right? Anderson? Yeah, Chris Anderson. Yeah, there he is. Chris, one time, you had a client, remember you said, they might want to buy with me, but they said, I want to wait till they get engaged, right? Is what they said? Yep. Then they got engaged. Chris said, what do I do? And I said, Go get a bottle of champagne, get two champagne glasses, drive over to their apartment and drop it off for them with a little card, and don't even stay. Just drop it off and don't even stay. There's little things you can do, but if you're always thinking internally and about yourself, like, where are my sales coming from? What am I doing? Who am I working with? Rather than, who is this person and what can I do for them that would make them feel important? If you think from that perspective with really good EQ, you will absolutely crush real estate. Every time I have a client that says, we're pregnant, I send the exact same book from Amazon. It's called Goodnight Baseball. It's a board book. I had a client yesterday that came up on my list. They need to finish their basement, and I knew that, so I reached out and was like, hey, can I come over and help you guys with this basement finishing thing you're doing? And they said, our daughter loves the Goodnight Baseball book. She reads it every single night. And I was like, oh, that's great. It was $8, you guys. It's $8. I've probably bought 50 of them, so I've spent $400, and people feel like I'm making them feel important. Like, that's pretty cool. And it makes you feel good too. Like I said, it's a simple industry. You just be valuable and make people feel important. I reach out for lunches and coffee meetings. I haven't done this as much lately because I just got too busy, but 3 times a week. I think if you're new to the industry in your first 3 years, you should do 5 coffees or lunches every single week. I don't know if it was Alyssa or Lindsay who told me, but coffees are great because they're a little cheaper than lunches if you're new. Can lower your marketing budget a little bit. But in-person meetings, okay? Very, very important. When you're staging people, this is the part where people get hung up, is they don't go and do this because they get stuck at the beginning. And they see 200 people that have no stage, and they go, oh crap, what do I do, right? One way to do this is you go home at night and you just put yourself in a dark room, and for 2 hours, you just put everybody in their stages. That's one way to do it, right? I always say aim for a higher stage and then adjust later. So if you're like, I don't know if this is a 90 or a 60 or a 60 or a 30 or whatever, just put them in the higher stage. You will know in your heart of hearts when they pop up on your list and you're like, might be weird if I reach out to Fate right now. I don't know if it's the right time. You know, like let's put them down a stage, right? You just click the little drop down green checkbox and you're on your way. Another key is within Follow Up Boss, to do this system properly, taking notes is a great way to do it too. So when you're texting somebody and you find something profound, or you talk to them on the phone, or something happens, that you log that information. How many of you guys have a financial planner or a CPA or somebody in a service industry that reaches out to you and says, how did that thing go? Or like, how's the car working? Or, you know, I saw you had a baby. How's the new baby? Like, they know, they remember it because they wrote it down. Everybody says that. Like, I have people that are in sales and they're like, I just know like clockwork, every 60 days, I'm going to get a text message from you that's like, hey, you want to grab lunch? But they appreciate it because I'm following a system by which I manage all of these relationships. And that's why people keep coming back, because it's reliable. This is the word I've told my team forever. As an adult, if I have one word to describe me, I hope people say I'm reliable. So I'm consistent and I'm reliable. People know what to expect as a friend, as an agent, as a husband, as a father. People know what to expect, it's a very comfortable place for them to be. So anyway, aim for higher stages. You can adjust later on. The thing that I think is important for everybody to understand with this is again, is not about reaching out to somebody and then them saying, I want to buy a house. That's going to happen sometimes. I've had a couple where they got engaged. Hey, congrats on getting engaged. That's so awesome. And they said, thanks, we're going to need a place now. Can we meet up? Like, that will happen. It's like 1 out of 100. 90% of your communications with your sphere are going to be outbound. So don't feel bad when people don't do the same thing to you. They just don't work in a services business. They're working their W-2 job. They're shuffling their kids to sporting events. They're not thinking about texting you, and they don't have a CRM to text you. So it's fine that you're always reaching out to them. I mean, I've shown threads at meetings before where it's like 8 text messages in a row and they never responded. And I do it the 9th time, and then something profound happens out of that. So you just have to keep going. The other key, this has to be manual. Okay? And that's the part that people hate. It cannot be an automated drip system. You can do newsletters. We have systematized newsletters. You can do events. You can do all these different things. But these have to be manual. It has to be specific to that person, and it has to be you going on your computer or your phone and text messaging physically and saying, Alcon, how is your family? The last time we talked, you were doing this. What's going on now? How was your summer? It's just super simple scripts. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. And I think a lot of folks also get hung up on like, what do I say? It's like, I don't know. How are you, Parker? Like, if someone texts you, this is also the other thing I always say. Someone texts you and I said, Elijah, it's been forever. We should grab coffee. Is Elijah thinking, what an asshole, that guy, right? Like, think about it. Like, think from his perspective. Again, take yourself out of your shoes and put him in the person you're reaching out to's shoes. People that get reached out to feel good. They're like, oh, what a nice friend. That was a really nice thing to do. And again, over time, as you get your niche in real estate, and I think that's important for everybody to develop. When I say, like, what are the 2 things that you're best at in real estate? If you don't have an answer, you should start to try to figure that out, because that's what people are going to come back to you for. So these clients I was talking about with the Goodnight Baseball book, I'm literally going to go over to their house for free, consult them, and show them how to finish their basement. For free. People ask me all the time, like, I do stuff like that, and they go, well, how much do I have to pay you for this? You know? I'm like, oh, that's the beauty of me doing it. It's free. Or like, we're getting divorced and we're going to get an appraisal. We don't really know. And I said, well, I'm a third party. Do you want me to just give you a valuation? How much would that cost? It's free. Because you can do free things in this business, and it just always is going to come back to you. If you're not just thinking about making money, you will make money. That's the beauty of real estate. You will make money if you're not thinking about making money. I had one yesterday. So another story to wrap a bow on it, but I had one yesterday. I've been horrible about following up with this person. This person is I think it's a referral. So it's like the 4th in this chain, and I'm not close with these people. Sold him a house 3 or 4 years ago in South Minneapolis. I probably have only texted him 1 time per year, and I don't think he's responded. He text messages me yesterday and says, hey, me and my wife are thinking we're going to move now. We want to build a house in the West Metro. We knew you were the perfect guy to help us out with this. And I was like, I guess I had a decent impact on my 1 interaction with you a year, but he's been getting my newsletter. He's been getting my invites to get a pie. They're still getting all of that stuff, even if I do a halfway good job of the follow-up part. I said at the top producer meeting in here a couple weeks ago, if everyone in this entire company is 290 agents, 85, if everybody did this 50% of the way, just half the way. You screwed up with half of them, and you did a great job with half of them, there'd be well over 1,000 more sales to this company in a year, 1 year. It's really not hard, but I know for some people it's scary. My brother Luke was 22 when he got into real estate. He said, they're gonna think I'm selling them something. I'm like, you're not a sales guy though. Like, why would they think that? He's like, I haven't talked to them in so long. I'm like, they're not buying a house, they're only 21 years old. I said, well, their parents might be, their grandparents might be, maybe their older brother is. He got in real estate, did what I told him to do. He sold 22 houses at the age of 22 with like 4 leads, I think. So he did 18 personally generated deals at the age of 22 within his own network that was also all 22. So you can use age, you can use experience, you can use whatever you want as an excuse, but like it falls flat on its face in some way, because I could tell you another 15 more stories just like that if you just follow that system. So anyway.
Thanks, AJ. And again, right after this, you're going to go deeper into the system.
Yeah, I'll show it on the screen and how to do it.
Can you go back a couple slides?
Yeah.
So literally as simple as this. You take your list, you categorize them based on these 3 categories. And then stages, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then all you're doing is every day you log into the computer and you look at who you have a task to and who you need to follow up with.
It'll show you who you have not talked to in 30, 60, or 90 days. So
is that something though? Is that a system that you think we could follow?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to acknowledge one other thing. So it's our calendars, how we operate our day-to-day. We're all way different. We all have different commitments. The key, I've said this before, is the key to my success is the consistency of the day-to-day. Like the time I wake up, literally the time I leave my house, meetings. I come here first thing in the morning. I leave at 5, 5:36, whatever. I go home. Not everybody can do that. I want to acknowledge that. You guys might get up. Your child might be sick. You might be the sole provider of your child. You might be the one that has to take him or her to the doctor. You might wake up, get through your morning routine, and a client calls and you got to go show a house or go to a listing appointment or whatever it is. The way that you tie this to consistent action is around a consistency in your life in general. So in the mornings, let's just say we have like an hour where we might have coffee or caffeine or internet time. Like for me, I sit for probably 45 minutes, read, and I drink this purple amino drink that has a shitload of caffeine in it. And it gets me going, and I get the kids up, and then I leave. But in that 45 minutes, I could simply execute on these tasks. I could simply do that. Now, I will say it's 5:30 in the morning, so it's gonna be a little weird.
Yeah.
Unless you got an AJ who's up texting you about conversion rates at 4:45. But my point is tie this to a consistency in your life, and that might be coffee, it might be your lunch break, it might even be at nighttime when you have like an hour on the couch. And that's the key to being able to stick to something like this, because all you're really doing at scale is probably 4, 5, 6 messages a day, if that. There's some days you probably don't have any messages, right? And then each of these are different because this is like A, B, and C. So if anybody was watching this and thinking like, I don't know if I have time to do that, think about that time where you have 30 minutes of consistency in your day. Can we all find that? Yeah, we all probably thought of something while I was talking about shitloads of caffeine, because we're probably all the same. Probably do the same thing in the morning. The other side of this is that AJ got a really good tip when he was getting into the business. If that tip was given to 1,000 agents, probably 5 would execute on it. Like, it is really tough to go and take 240 people and meet with them in a given year.
But it's not tough though. It isn't tough. That's in my brain, right? It's not tough to do that.
When I got connected to AJ, my story was, and we've known each other for a long time, we got connected through internet lead generation and conversion. Like, we were two nerds talking about how we convert leads on different teams. And that's actually what brought us together at EXP. But I was given sheets of paper early on that had a bunch of random names on them, and I was just told to call that list. I called that list. He was told to go and meet with 240 people. He went and met with 240 people. We both connected on the fact that, hold on a second, if we're meeting with people, we're moving the ball forward in our business. The core fact is that if you meet with more people, you're going to expand your influence in your life. If we're meeting with one person a week versus 5, we're meeting with less people, we're having less conversations, we have a smaller group of people that can possibly be this type of a person in our life. So even though I met random strangers raising their hand online, I then said, wait, when I sell them a house, I can put them into my system, and now I can be in a relationship with them. And then when I met AJ, I learned about this system. I said, wait, you're doing this to your friends and family too? And he's like, yeah, and it works really well. So don't overthink this. And that's what I wanted to say. It's like, we all have different lives, and so you got to find that consistency.
Well, and truthfully, like, I had 225 people I had just invited to my own wedding, right? Like 4 years prior. A lot of them were also 25 to 28 years old, which is right when, well, nowadays it's like over 30, but right when a lot of first-time home buying action happens, right? So I was fortunate in that. I think the thing that this does that people don't understand, like, how many of you have ever referred a service or a salesperson to somebody else? Probably everybody, right?
Yeah.
How often did the person receiving the referral, how often were they standing in the room? Like, never, right? They're not there when the referral happens. Think about people talking about you when you're not there. Again, if you can get outside yourself, think about how often people are talking about you when you're not there. What are they saying, right? What are they saying? This is a person you have to meet with, right? Or, ooh, I know we were friends in high school. We had a real bad experience with that person with real estate, right? So, like, think about what they're saying when you're not there, or what do you want them to say when you're not there, and try to be that person for them, you know? Like, for me, it's like, I want to know more about the economy and the real estate market than anybody in this entire state in real estate. I want to know more about how houses are constructed, built, the components of a house than anybody in this entire state. So I have spent 12 years learning all of that because I like it. It's fun for me. And people then, when they say, when they're talking about me, I would hope they're saying, the guy knows the market, he's gonna help you from a financial perspective, and if you get into a situation where you don't know what something is in a house, he's gonna know the answer to it. That's what I wanted to be, that's what I still strive to be all the time. So think about that. What are people gonna say about you when you're not there? That's important, I think.